Just in case, you know how they are about these here.
Right.
So, let's have a seat and I'll tell you not just what happened. There's a reason why this happened to Daisy right when I'm about to run for city council. So, what I'm about to tell you guys, it's a story of desperation because of a world of scarcity and separation. And that's something to mourn because we're really lovey-dovey and we actually love to smuggle. It feels wonderful to make life better for others. We drive pleasure when we help to meet needs for others. Do you want to come up on So, one thing I know is that all of us have done desperate things during desperate times. And this is a capacity issue. It's a lack of love, and it's a lack of resources, and it's a lack of others to support us. And when I know that I've detoxed the enemy imaging and the othering, because when I saw my fellows on the platform and the train goes by, and you can imagine if someone's at the very beginning, they could watch the first car go by. Before the train stops, they know exactly which car they're going to target. And by the time the doors open, they're already waiting outside your car. It doesn't matter if you're the first car.
Can you tell us what you saw and what happened to you?
Yeah. So, you know, people on your channel say I talk a lot, so I made a condensed version. So, a couple weeks ago, this was last Monday, so almost 2 weeks ago, I was on a train. I was at the Palm Station, and I witnessed these individuals, about 8 to 10 people, and they were on the platform, as I said. They proceeded to move into the car, and they chose a young man, teenage boy, and I saw him put his legs over his bicycle. They were targeting his bike, and one of them started to pick a fight with him, and everyone around started to get up and move, and it was really intense because these 10 people, and some of the people you don't even know that they're with them. So at first it just looked like there was about 8, but there was a couple females because they attacked Daisy. So when I saw the next moment of escalation and fear, so I felt the instinct in my body to move away, but something in me said, this is a human being in distress. This is something that's unfolding that could cause harm to someone, not just harm to the young man, but harm to these other kids who get in trouble. I know it's not okay for them to get sent to jail, it's going to hurt them. So I stood up, I started to alert people on the train to intervene in the situation, to bring awareness and de-escalation, and I was telling all the males, come, let us talk to them, and the mothers, let us give empathy. He needs help. These people have needs too. Let's find out what's going on so no one gets hurt. And in that moment, I hear, get her phone. And I'm dodging punches. So you got video of me dodging? All right.
Who was punching you?
So a female I didn't know was with them attacked me, and several others followed behind her. And as she attacked me, I went back in the chair and put my legs up, so then she's punching my feet. And thankfully I had my plastic shoes on, so she punched those off. But she wasn't able to hit, no one hurt Daisy, so I'm not hurt. I did not get hit. And I hear, I got her phone. So it was very coordinated. Then someone says, hold her back. And then someone else holds me back. And they're all running. and the train stopped, and the driver said, "Hey, the cops are on their way. Get off this platform so you can file a report." And I said, "Nope, take me home." And when I got here, there was sheriffs over there, and the guy with the bike, and a couple others on the train came to Daisy, and they said, "Make the report." So I did. And LAPD was super diligent. Like, they were here waiting for me. The sheriff's deputies, they took the report. They had people follow up with me. They were driving on their way to meet me. Then they find out it's Culver City. So they transferred to Culver City. Culver City wasn't willing to go to my home and interview me like that. So they said, "Oh yeah, you got to go to Culver City." Said, "You got to come to the station if you want to file a report." And they didn't pursue it at all. But LA County was basically like, "Oh, we're getting it done." So I was really impressed with that. Culver City just kind of seemed like, we're not going to pursue it. If you want to, come here. Here's the thing. So...
Did they steal that other guy's bike?
No. Because I was alerting everyone, and then they got spooked, and they put their focus on me, and then they just said, "Get her phone."
Can you give us a description of the people who attacked you and stole your phone? Were they young, old?
They were teenagers to early 20s.
From this country, or?
Yeah, they were. I didn't see. There were like some really, really tall guys and a couple women. Yeah. You know, just handsome, beautiful young people who were desperate and very violent and willing to commit violence to take property. However, once property is taken, the violence ends. And it's not escalated. It's like de-escalated. I noticed that they have systems in place where people like me who are robbed are actually held back. So we're actually held back from harm because others would choose incapacitate her, hurt her, disable. Just like, no, they just...
And what kind of phone did they take from you?
So to me, it was pretty coordinated, pretty professional. And also, this part of my platform, it was an iPhone. It was a $1,000 phone. But my phone from my iPhone, it's a 14, not a 15, iPhone 14. I'm about to get that back because all my cases is about to be done. So, and you know, that was so violent when the bounty hunter came and got me, and then I was basically held ransom. Like, my friends had to come up with $3,000, and it's just like very upsetting. And some people sign promissory notes where then you're hunted down and you can get put back into jail if you don't pay. So then isn't that debtor's prison? And there's just a little loophole that bounty hunters can put people in debtor's prison. And I'm starting to become savvy to this stuff, so...
Are you afraid now to ride the train?
Well, guess what? I was riding the train home from my Access interview. And Access is a service. It's like Uber share rides for poor people. And you don't have to pay anything. In my case, you don't have to pay anything. Some people have to pay. I live on $220 a month. Yesterday, I picked up a giant box of groceries. I'm very abundant. I found a way, instead of drinking a bottle of green juice and a bottle of coconut smoothie. So another thing about the train is people will listen to this and choose this just to have a place to sleep. So every time the train stops, they'll have people go through the train to wake everyone up.
A sweep.
Yeah, because people don't have a place that's peaceful or safe, and in Santa Monica you can't have what I like to call like a nook or a cranny, that's what I call it, And if you don't got an nook or a cranny to crawl into, whether it's like a cardboard box or a tent, then you're vulnerable and you can get hit. When I saw these kids attacking me and this young lady attacking me, I just thought about like, okay, dodging and she's kind of hitting my feet. So I'm like, okay, it doesn't hurt. Kinda
Did you
feels
punch
good.
back?
Never. I don't harm. I dodge, I run. This case I couldn't get away, but I don't get hurt. I love my attackers. I love everyone, and those who are the hardest to love, my attackers, this is the way I view them. Look, if you're gonna attack me and you don't know me, I don't know what I did to you. But I know if you're gonna attack me, it's nothing personal with me. That's just something that you do. It's like a preview of what it's like to be in a relationship with you. And I know that that's because others attack you also. So the reason why I didn't press charges and why I'm not going to pursue, instead I'm going to put all my energy into running for city council. That would take a tremendous amount of energy to pursue charges and try to get my phone. And it's like, no, I'm not going to. My bank account is zero because I spend my whole general relief when I get it. And I don't need it all, but because I was arrested, I spent $500 that I saved up to bail out. And
what were people doing when they were attacking you, like the passengers?
no one did anything.
They just watched?
Every single person that I asked to help did nothing. And me and the guy with the bicycle child, he looked young, like my son's age, my oldest son's age. He was all alone.
Did they attack him too, physically?
No, because they were going to. So the move is you attack somebody because they yelled, I got the phone, and then it's like, okay, let's go.
So it's organized.
Yeah, for some reason they didn't take his bike, and I think it's because they were like just getting alerted that I was calling the cops for whatever reason, and then they attacked me, and I was on the phone calling the cops, so they're like, get the phone. And my phone fell, and then they took it and ran. And they said, I got the phone. And then they said, hold her back. And it was like one person said something, but another one did it. So it was like people were shouting orders, and it was very coordinated. You couldn't do anything because it happened so fast you can't think. And the way that they went up to the guy, it was immediate. They were like, so, what you looking at? And just humiliating him, name calling him, saying unkind things, saying put downs, intimidations, demands, threats. And you could see him like putting his legs over his bike and starting to put his whole body to cover his bike and basically sit on his bike.
To protect it?
Yeah, and poor thing was scared because these were big guys. And I was just like, help him. Like if that was my son, I would be like, please do not hurt my child. Can I give you something? What do you need? And I wish I just said that to them. I wish I just said that. As soon as that finished happening, I thought, I really wish we could find them. I wish we could say, what are you needing? That was so scary. Like, you wouldn't be doing that unless you have scary stuff like this happen all the time to you. My darling, oh sweetheart, that must be so awful. Have you ever had anyone tell you that you are lovable no matter what, and nothing that you do makes you unlovable no matter what you say? No matter how you feel, no matter what's happened to you or what you've done, you are lovable no matter what. And do you want to know something? I have been to many 12-step groups. There's ones for relationships, there's one for addictions, there's ones for lifestyle changes. There's all different kinds of fellowships that I've gone to. And the only time I heal, I've tried courts and criminal justice and jails and punishment. It doesn't work. Do not recommend it. Actually, it holds you back. It kind of stumps you for a while, traumatizes you. Do not recommend it. What I do recommend is finding those who are just like me that will love you. And let's say the first responder is not the LAPD, or in this case, Culver City Police. Let's say the first responders are, and you guys have heard my cult to love idea, caring community members who have been through horrific childhoods that were so unpredictable and chaotic that they acted out in the exact same ways, and they learned how not to rob and beat people up. Yes. And they also took drugs and said mean things to their relationships. And I guarantee you, this woman who attacked me and these men who attacked, I guarantee you, they are hitting their children, they're hitting the elders, they're hitting their partner, they're no one, because I'm someone who learned not to hit, you know? And even with the dog, she chewed up my speaker. I had a surge of, I was like, whoa, this is anger, this is violence. I know not to hit. And when something like that happens, I take a breath and I'm like, I love you, baby. This is not about you. I love you. It's okay about the speaker. And I just put her with the neighbor because I knew I needed to cool down, and I don't have capacity because I live alone. I can't treat Fur Queen very well when I'm upset. So if I know that I have violence in me and that I need certain things in my life to be in order, like I can't go over my capacity, I know it's the same for these people who are attacking me. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Is this your first time back to the train station since the incident?
Yeah, actually.
How does it feel to be back here?
I haven't ridden public transportation in 2 weeks, except to go to my dance class.
So do you think you've been traumatized by the experiments?
Absolutely not. Because I've been attacked before. The only thing that was different about this time was I couldn't get away. And I've been attacked, I've also been robbed. The only difference about this case is that it was blatantly done right in my face violently. It wasn't done sneakily. And actually, you got someone on camera stealing my shred sled, remember?
Yeah.
And then they buried it. That was so crazy. So this stuff has happened to me, and immediately afterwards, I know to cry. I know to process my pain. I tell others what happened who are going to listen to me deeply and care about what I say and care about me and give me empathy. And if they're not going to do all of those things, then I don't tell them.
Did you cry after that event?
Yeah, I cried several times, and LAPD were amazing. When I was talking to them, I said, oh, I have a cry. They said, that's totally normal. Just take a second and cry. So I just took a second. It was 30 seconds. You think it's going to take 10 minutes, so we don't want to cry. It doesn't. It just takes a couple seconds. So it was 20, 30 second cry. And after that, it was I wasn't shaking. I was totally calm, and I could speak to the officers very calmly like I am to you right now. And I needed to cry several more times. I kept seeing the girl's face, and then when others would come toward me, I would have to think about how lovable they were. However, I've done so much EMDR, which is where they make your eyes move back and forth when the therapist does that because I used to have these, I would have to get triggered when guys were catcalling. So now I know how to deal with triggers. I know how to, so not traumatized from it. However, I see it as a call to love. I see it as a desperate call to love, and it is a message and an invitation that universal needs are not getting met, and they need to be met. And these children, if we go to them and we say, hey, look, do you want an iPhone? Do you really want one really badly? Is that why you attacked her? Is there a way that we can look at the behavior of attacking, and then that becomes a target behavior, and then we do what's called applied behavioral analysis, ABA therapy. This is already done through the government. And the government says, oh, you have a behavior that we don't want. We'll send you an ABA therapist 40 hours a week. They will stay with you, and you will get occupational therapy, you will get speech therapy, you will get, they will basically teach you how to live life. And we are already doing this in California, but there's this barrier that says, oh, they have to want it, and they don't want it, and that's not true. It's not being offered as a first response. So that's basically the gist of it. This is a
Oh.
It's actually for aerial yoga, but it works like a chew thing too. She likes to bite a lot. Bite her. Sit over here. You're pregnant, so we're allowed to be here. She's pregnant. He's checking to see if anyone's sleeping. So when I'm in the city council, the Love Crusaders will have first responders in the train to wake up sleepy sweets in the most motherly, loving way possible. So I know. The experience of being robbed and assaulted on the train made something very clear to me. Safety can not only come from reaction, enforcement, or fear. It has to come from prevention, belonging, and systems that actually meet needs. And if we do this in fellowship, then before harm emerges, people will have insight. That's why I'm running for city council. You guys have heard me talk about a call to love for a while now. My platform is rooted in a simple truth. We belong to each other, and we belong to the systems that sustain us. So, I'm committed to building a city that shifts from control to care, from extraction to regeneration, and from isolation to deep community and belonging. That looks like a city of gardens everywhere, where food is grown in public spaces. Native plants restore biodiversity, and children grow up understanding the land is alive and we are in relationship with it. It also helps to meet our needs for beauty and color and watering holes and needs that make life so incredibly wonderful. We realize that it doesn't take much for the very deepest part of us to be very happy. When we protect biodiversity as essential infrastructure, and when we stop thinking of living beings as problems to eliminate, for example, rat traps and poisoning and killing and controlling, instead of designing systems that reduce harm and increase balance across urban ecosystems. Because in a balanced ecosystem, you don't have an explosion of squirrels on the bluffs. And it looks like water systems that are regenerative and circular, where we stop pollution at the source and treat oceans, rivers, and coastlines as sacred, shared life support systems. And one of the things I love about Santa Monica is we're way ahead of the game in composting. Composting to not just be of plant waste, but human waste and animal waste. And how do we create a world where we are not polluting, and we're reimagining public safety as a fellowship of care where mental health support, outreach, fire and emergency response work together in coordinated, compassionate ways that prioritize de-escalation and prevention through meeting universal needs and guiding those who are ready into their fellowships, which are places that were meant to meet universal needs. And if you don't know what a fellowship is, a fellowship would be like, let's say you have relationships where you guys hurt each other, then you go to Codependence Anonymous. Or a fellowship could be like a support system of other couples who are having those issues. It looks like housing as belonging, not temporary survival, but real stability, dignity, and wraparound support so people are not left outside of the community. It looks like a city that expands its moral circle, not just for humans, but for all of life, birds, soil, insects, trees, and ecosystems that make our lives possible. And at the heart of my vision is something very simple and very human. I want Santa Monica to become a place where care is not an afterthought, but the organizing principle of how we design everything. A place where love is not only personal, but civic, where we build systems that nourish life instead of reacting to its breakdown. Because I believe when a city is designed with care at its center, when it is rooted in relationship and dignity and ecological intelligence, people are safer, communities are stronger, and even those in the most distress are more likely to find the path back into connection. This is the city I am working toward, a Santa Monica of gardens, belonging, clean water, and community care, a city that remembers we are not separate from each other and not separate from nature. We are part of one living system, and when we act from truth, love, and care, everything changes. All right. This is my favorite form of transportation, though. The shred sled. All right, puppy. No one got it? Good job. You're lucky that was still there. Come on, Fur Queen.